This launch monitor started in a shoebox. Yeah, no big company, no corporate think tank, not on a factory floor. It was just two frustrated sim golfers who were tired of paying too much for launch monitor equipment that they decided, hey, why don't we try to build our own? And somehow, one of the first units ever released to the world, a beta unit, has found its way into the Triples Happen studio for us to test. They're targeting around $1,250. There'll be no subscriptions. The data will be completely open. And if this thing performs, this launch monitor could change the game overnight. Before we get into performance and data, let's talk about the origin story of this thing and how it even came to exist. It didn't start as a hardware company. It actually started as a simple Excel spreadsheet. The original inventor, Brett, built a golf ball flight model in Excel. Yeah, just wanted to understand ball flight trajectory and physics. It then turned into Python, C#, and eventually it turned into a full 3D driving range built in Unity that was able to visualize golf ball shots in 3D. At that point, Brett realized, well, I can simulate golf ball flight. Now I need to measure a golf shot and send it into my simulated world. So from there, that was where the very first idea for the launch monitor was born. He took a cardboard box, some off-the-shelf cameras, a LiDAR sensor just to detect when a ball was hit, and he just started working. From there, he upgraded that camera again and again and again, and eventually he had a single USB 3.0 camera working surprisingly well, able to play full rounds of golf, but he was finding a struggle getting an accurate horizontal launch angle. So he did what any, golf launch monitor inventor would do. He added a second camera, and then he upgraded again and again and again. And at some point, he got to where he had a 2x4 housing with two cameras, some LiDAR sensors, and the journey was starting to progress to where it's like, I think I've almost got something working here. That was when he met Mike. Mike from the Raspberry Pi forums, a forum where people are trying to build launch monitors using the Raspberry Pi boards, and they joined forces. Mike and Brett started working together. They built their own control board. They learned, 3D printing, started building their own housings, and now we're here. They've got 10 of these units worldwide, from Australia to the UK to the US, Canada. And this, what I'm holding in my hands, is the evolution of all of their hard work. And for Spectrum, this isn't just about hardware, it's about their philosophy. And their mission is really simple: built by golfers for golfers. Personally, for them, they say they're tired of the subscription models. They're tired of compatibility issues, and they're tired of unreasonable prices. So for them, they want to bring something that solves those core things. The Element will not have subscription pricing for its core features. You will not have to pay to unlock club data. There's no credit system or anything to play golf, and you will not need the internet to use it. So when you buy a Spectrum, you're going to own it, and free and simple, internet or not, it will work. And that is a rare thing in this industry. They're targeting pricing between the Square Home Edition and the Mevo Plus. That puts it roughly around $1,250. So let's think about that for a second. For a dual camera optical tracking system that has onboard processing, does not need the internet, connects to GSPro, free and clear. It'll read anything down to a 3-foot putt up to 200-mile-per-hour ball speeds. It doesn't have any subscriptions at all. At that $1,250 point, if the accuracy tests are real, this thing becomes an extremely valuable option. So this is where it gets real. This is not a production unit. This is not a polished, ready for retail unit. This is a hand-built 3D printed unit built by the founders themselves and set out for early testing before the manufacturing phase begins. They're targeting a limited early release, 100 to 200 units I've heard, built in-house while they search for a manufacturer, and a Kickstarter launch. So pretty exciting stuff. Again, $1,250 is the price that they're targeting. And all the data will be open, WebSocket, TCP server, a web API. You can connect directly to it. So that's really rare, but none of that matters if it doesn't perform. Setup is surprisingly simple for a beta. I got it plugged in, and when you turn it on, the LEDs will light up. It'll either create a little local area network for you to connect a phone, a tablet, a PC to, or you can connect it to your local Wi-Fi, or you can plug it directly in using an Ethernet cord like I've done down below. So once it's on your home network, all you've got to do is open up a web browser. It's a web-based application. Go to http://sgt.local, and that will log you into the web-based application. It's right on the device. It's not on the internet. So basically, if you have the device, you don't need internet, you can log right into it. Now, if you have internet, you can do things once you're logged into it, like upgrade the firmware or connect it to GSPro or view the dashboard, those types of things. You can even create profiles, but it's all local. It's all local on the device. Very, very cool. There is no middleware. There's no paid connector. There's no subscription gateway per se. It doesn't check your credentials each time. And if the company were to go out of business, having a web-based app like this means I could continue to connect to it and I could continue to send shots to GSPro in its current state, which pretty cool. So you connect to it and voila, it just works. So as someone who runs kind of a heavily networked sim studio, I think that really matters. It's very simple. One thing I immediately noticed right away was the alignment tool. When you log in, you've got an easy way to align the device. So you've got your device down over there. I've got two balls. It's got a little indicator on the screen on where those are at. And from there, I can reach down and we can just click the save button. And now our alignment configuration is saved. We're lined up in our room. The other thing I've noticed is the hitting area itself. So if we just back out of alignment mode and we go into the regular mode, we can hit start finding the ball. And you can see that the hitting area with club data on is about 10 inches by 10 inches. And as we move the ball around, that area is going to show back up. So when I've got club data on, the area is much refined. But if we turn club data off, we actually have a bigger area, nearly 10 by 20 inches, pretty big hitting area there. And this does track the starting position of the ball and will tell you when it's ready to hit. So let's turn the club data on, hit some shots, and see how this thing feels. All right, so we've hit a few shots. Honestly, my initial impression is the data goes into the game really fast. I'm gonna show you that here in a second. You'll see on the dashboard, we've got a list of shots building up. They also have their own flight model, so you can see the tail of the ball, the height of it. And for club data and ball data, specifically, let's talk about the ball data first. For ball data, they are asking that you use a TP5 pix or a dotted marked ball. Right now, it is working off of the markings on the ball. They're eventually aiming towards dimple tracking, but currently do not. It right now measures ball speed, horizontal launch angle, vertical launch angle, spin axis, and total spin. The 5 data points that every launch monitor needs to measure to send the ball into the game. We can register shots, they say, as low as about 1.5 miles an hour or 3 feet in the game, or up to 200 miles an hour, which I'm never getting anywhere close to that. I've got a 7-iron here. They do also have club data. You can see they've got a instant replay cam for the shot itself. And then for the club data, they're giving us club speed, angle of attack, the path, smash factor, and your vertical impact location. So actually it's horizontal impact location. So it's whether or not you hit it close to the toe or close to the heel of the club. And that's measured by putting a singular sticker on the top center of your golf club. Let's hit a few shots and see and show you guys how quickly it goes into the game. And then I'll try to hit a few different shaped shots to show you what I initially think about how accurate this unit is just sitting here on its own off of my basic feels. All right, so we'll move the ball around to get it ready. You're gonna see that little box pop up there. That is your indicator on whether or not you've got the ball in the zone or not. So as I move it, you're gonna see that pop up and it'll tell you where the ball is and then it will lock onto it. Okay, here we go, 7-iron. I'm gonna try to hit just a stock sort of baby draw. I'll let you know if it feels like it after we hit it. Kind of face felt open there. Let's see what the club data says. Ball speed 121. I hit it well. Spin's pretty normal. A little bit of cut spin. It's saying that my path was 3 degrees and my horizontal impact was just right about in the center. You know, for me, that felt like path inside but face open, just a push. So that looks like what it represented both in GSPro and in their flight model. A little bit of right spin. Let's try again. See if we can't hit that draw, get that face a little bit more closed. There we go. Ball speed 124. GSPro carry distance 173. Their flight model had it at 173.7. Spin rate 6,000. Club speed 91. It says I hit it right in the middle. And you can see down there on that impact cam, a pretty darn good strike. So initially the ball goes into the game incredibly fast, and it feels like the ball flight and the readings are very realistic. I would say like I am shockingly, I hate to use that word because I didn't expect it to be bad or anything, but I am incredibly impressed. So let me see if I can hit a little cut shot, hit a little fade with the 7-iron here. There we go. We've got a negative path. The path is negative 2.6, and we've got a cut spin. So that ball, you know, a little bit less speed on the ball hitting that cut shot, but it performed exactly sort of how I expected it. One more time, we'll try to hit more of a little baby fade and start it on the left side of the line this time. Wow. Into the game almost instantly. I gotta say, I'm super impressed. Path minus 4.4. The fact that off of a $1,200 launch monitor, 2-camera unit built out of the garage, we're getting club speed, angle of attack, path, smash factor, horizontal impact off the club data using one sticker. I gotta say, like, this is incredibly impressive. And as you can see on the top, I've now hit 9 total shots, and it's keeping track of all of them, and you're seeing the different flights. I've been trying to cut it, trying to draw it, and honestly, at this point, it's done everything I've expected it to do. And again, let's key in on this club data stuff. So for club data, we've got one single sticker on the high center of the club, and they're working hard to deliver the club data. For now, we're getting things like club speed, angle of attack, path, and impact location. Over time, they want to release full club data. I've been told currently that it does sometimes struggle with like your slow chip shots. But again, remember, ball data is the key part. That's what gets sent into GSPro. Club data does not affect your GSPro or your golf simulator game. It just simply gives you a fuller experience. From my limited few shots here, I'm super impressed with the club data that it does provide. All right, guys, I can't think of any better way to test this than to jump into GSPro, play a couple holes, show you how it really feels, how it plays. Let's just pick out 3 holes, have a little fun, and then we'll jump into the details, you know, the bigger picture, the integration, the growth ecosystem, and we'll wrap it up with our final verdict and opinion on the launch monitor. More to come. Let's jump into GSPro and play a couple of holes. All right, here, 3 holes, GSPro. Let's have a little fun. We're playing holes 16, 17, and 18 at the Fayetteville Country Club. We've got a par 5, par 3, par 4. Let's put this unit to the test and see how she plays in a real GSPro game. Come on. Felt just like that. Get out of there. Okay, in the rough, 244 out. I am super impressed with how quickly the shot goes into the game, and I love the little replay camera down below. Even highlights my reflector with a little green color. All right, 244. Try to get one up there on the green. And we found another bunker that felt like a complete toe strike. And if we look at the club data, 2.2 on the toe. So it's telling me, yep, you hit it on the toe there, Ben, which is what gave us that hook spin off of the toe. And what I'd say is that's great feedback to have. If it hits off the toe like that, we want to know. Okay, 93 out of the bunker. Look at this like it's about 100. Get up a little, stay. Okay, we've got a putt for birdie. All right, 18 feet for birdie. Is that all? Hit it just a bit too hard. 6.5 feet for par. And we got it. So gonna sneak out of the first hole with a par. Moving on to 17, par 3, 142. just left the face open. We're just gonna miss on the short side. Interesting little flop shot coming up next. All right, let's see if this thing can handle a PDN flop. Here we go. Get in there. Oh, almost. And there's a par on 17. Let's see if we can't birdie the 18th and shoot one under on our first 3 holes with the Spectrum element. There's a big drive. Left rough, 55 yards to go. That felt a little bit off the toe. And of course, it lets me know 2.2 on the toe there for the impact. All right, 54. Then face was just open. Not a bad shot. We got a putt for that birdie on the final hole here. All right, for birdie on the last, 19, down 3. Break, 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 break. Oh, and that'll do it. 3 holes, putts, chips, drives, irons. Everything felt incredible. I'm impressed with how quickly the data goes into the game. The Spectrum element, this is the real deal. They call it a beta unit. It feels like it's ready. So we're gonna do more testing. We'll have this on our lives. We'll talk about it more and more and more. But Brett and Mike with the Spectrum element, this product is absolutely incredible. I'm excited to see what's to come. They've talked about things like an overhead launch monitor amongst others. So keep this on your radar. Don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel for future updates. There's gonna be a lot more to come with the Spectrum element. Well, to close the intro video out here, let's talk about a couple of things. Integration and the open ecosystem. So these guys are currently integrated with GSPro. They're open to integrating with any of the other softwares as they can. This one thing that they're committed to is being WebSocket, TCP server and Web API open. They want a community that will build them, custom dashboards if they feel interested. That's what the open ecosystem really does. With the software being directly on the unit, you don't need internet. If they were to not exist tomorrow, it would just work like it works right now with the current update that's in it, which is incredible. They want the community to maybe even help build things like training aids, training modifications, different game modes. And if I look at my notes, they also want analytic modules. So this is the opposite of the closed ecosystem model that you normally think of and see. And in the sim golf world, that's a really powerful thing. There's only one other company I know of that's doing something like that. So very, very cool. And as far as the bigger picture, this really isn't a corporate product. This is a community-driven product that's being tested in real sims with real golfers and being applied to your everyday guy. It's going to be a launch monitor that comes in under the $1,500 range. And I think, and it feels like they could be providing some incredibly high level levels of accuracy. So very, very cool in my initial testing. This is kind of the grassroots of innovation. I love these kinds of stories. I am super grateful and thankful for Mike and the guys at Spectrum Element for bringing me along with them to test this unit and be a part of their journey. Again, do not forget, like and subscribe to this video. I will be using this in my live streams. We will be putting out updates as they roll out updates, and I'll be putting this side by side against the Pro VX overhead launch monitor, hopefully to minimize interference, and we'll talk about how the data stacks up. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and thank you to everybody who took the time to watch the Spectrum Element video. I really appreciate you, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my live streams soon.